Well, I just got my first video rant from Anna Roldan, and I love it. I'm gonna watch it again, and then I'll make some more comments. Um, you wanted me to talk about my first years of life. Uh, my first memory, uh, it's an odd one. I was probably 3 years old. Uh, my dad had a business trip to Germany, and so he dragged me and my little brother and my mother along. And what I remember is we were at an ice cream cart, a street vendor or something. The streets were the streets and the sidewalks were immensely busy. And so I had an ice cream in a cone, and so someone bumps me, and the ice cream falls onto the ground. And I remember that this cone that I'm holding belongs with that ice cream. And I'm like, well, but they're separate. So I dropped the cone with the ice cream on the ground, and people were stepping on it in high heels and dress shoes and whatnot. And of course, my parents were kind of freaking out. They asked the vendor, to if they would be kind enough to replace it, and they were. And the other thing I remember about that incident is that my brother had gotten some kind of creamsicle or something. He didn't know what he wanted, he just pointed. But it was just too cold, and so his tongue froze to the popsicle, and he couldn't get it off. So my dad had to peel his tongue off of the popsicle, and then my dad ended up eating it. But those are my earliest memories. It was my first logical but illogical decision. So for some reason I remember that. Up to 10 years old. It was about my 10th birthday where we moved from my first home in Burbank, California, up to Grants Pass, Oregon. So I went from city boy to living on a hillside, 3 3/4 acres of forest land that bordered on a creek called Bummer Creek. Now, the first house we lived in Burbank, we had an orange tree in the backyard, and I cannot eat store-bought oranges. They just suck now. They're all, lifeless fruit. They don't have any seeds anymore, so there's no nutritional value in them. And I recently just had some blackberries, and we had blackberries down at Bummer Creek, and my mother actually made blackberry jam, and I could just eat that shit out of the jar. It was just fantastic. But the shit I get at the store just has no flavor or value or nutritional sustenance at all. It's mostly just frickin' water, especially the grapes. They are so plump, but there's no seeds and no flavor and no vitamins or nutrition in them. Anyways, that's my rant. I'm going to watch your video again and see if I have anything to add to this. I don't believe you're terribly shy. I've seen you dancing on video. You got very little to be shy about. You're quite attractive. You are a little thin, I'll grant you that. I'm 210, 215 pounds. I don't know what that converts to kilos, but yeah, you're pretty small. So let's get some more weight on you, okay? And I don't think it will lose any hotness at all. You're quite hot. It doesn't have to be physical to be hot. You have an amazing personality and intellect, and that's what makes you hot. Technically, it's Fence Walker Archimedes, I like the way you pronounce Archimedes, or however you said it, but it's Archimedes. That's how I know how to pronounce it. So you're forgiven. I lose track of the days too. Um, yeah, so the insomnia thing that you're about to cover, uh, I'd recommend talking to a sleep neurologist or pathologist or whatever the hell they call it in Spain. I had to see a neurologist before seeing a sleep doctor. I have not slept for more than a few minutes at a time for several years now. Um, so before it gets as bad as what I've got, please seek help, Anna. And I understand basic depression. You deserve it. You've earned it. Just let it pass. Realize that there are other feelings to feel, and that's how I tend to get through it. Hope that helps you. Okay, one thing to add to the childhood years. There was a point where I was getting sick a lot. I kept getting laryngitis. They ended up removing my tonsils. And I kept complaining that my head hurt. And my mother would put her hand up to my forehead and go, "Well, I don't feel anything. You're just trying to play hooky, stay home from school again." Well, migraines don't give off heat. That's the heat is fighting off an infection, and that's not what migraines are about. So she tells me that I'm okay, and so I figure, okay, well this must be my new normal. And yes, it got progressively worse over the years. It fucked up my sleep. It fucked up my attitude, and now I'm not sleeping at all. The migraines come and go, but they have been greatly reduced. And I don't know if it was because of the eye surgery, the nasal spray that the eye doctor gave me, or the super strong cannabis oil that I was having. It wasn't as refined as it needed to be, but it was fairly strong. So I am looking forward to making my own version of that oil. I've done it before. It is a long process, and I prefer to use actual bud, and I don't have any bud right now. I just have a bunch of leaf, and that is perfectly fine for my muffins. So that's my update, and hopefully my video isn't too much longer than yours. See you later. And yes, I love you too. Okay, my question to you is, what is most important? And I just want to leave it at that. If you want to add something to that, what's most important to you, what's most important in the world, in the universe, however you want to answer that. I would like to know what is most important. And just leave it open. Answer it any way you'd like. Answer it in multiple different ways. Come at it from whatever angle you want.